Hello and welcome back to Astrological Intentions. I will introduce myself. I am Alex Reevy, your host, along with my beautiful mother and Wonder Woman, Sandy Reevy.
Hi, Alex. Wonder Woman, that was my tag on the back at my
our
party.
mystery party.
Yeah.
So this is episode 30, recorded on February 19th, 2019. And let's go straight into the transits. Mercury squared Jupiter.
See the whole picture.
Venus conjunct Pluto.
Infatuation or manipulation.
Mercury sextile Pluto.
Love of mystery.
We have some talisman times that Sandy finished up, and you even sold one.
Right. So I have two that I'll talk about and two that I'm going to be making on Saturday.
Then on the horizon, we have a local Mind, Body, Spirit Expo coming up, a few online workshops, a trip to Phoenix, Arizona, as well as our Bali retreat. Then we're going to finish up this episode with our house. We are going to recap Sandy's last week, a little moment that sent her on a whirlwind, find out more about that, as well as our upcoming birthdays and what exactly is a solar return. So stay tuned.
Yours is coming up really soon.
So stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
You got the keys. You got the keys. You got the keys. You got the keys.
Hello, Mama.
Hi, Alex. How are you?
Hey, podcast listeners.
Hi, we've been working all day sitting across from each other, but this is the first time we were actually looking at each other
and
to say,
talking.
Hi.
So, yes.
It's been a busy day.
It has been a busy day. I also wanted to quick go direct with all of you. We have Nicole S. She wrote in, she said, I participated in the Solar Powered Year seminar on the first day, and I had mentioned I had a big presentation on February 4th. I was asking Sandy if it was a good day, and she said it was a great day for persuasion. Well, I'm happy to say I rocked it. And now I will be submitting a proposal to build a program. Then she was listening to the podcast, heard about the Jupiter opposing Moon intention bracelet, and she just totally felt compelled. It was her talisman. She bought it, and she's so happy. It completely speaks to me, and she's looking forward to continuing to learn more on the podcast. She said, thanks again, and stay warm over there. So Nicole, shout out to you.
You know what? I didn't know that first part of the story. Yeah,
right. I mean, majority of the time, I'm just now sharing these with you. This is the time we get.
I'm part of the listeners. Nicole, beautiful, nice work on, paying attention to the dates that are built for you specifically, in your life. So, having that confidence that gave you that opportunity to get your message across, and, they took you up on it. You were believable, right? That you had that power. So good for you. I'm excited. Keep us posted on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, just a quick mention, if anyone is interested in the solar powered year, it is recorded. You get all of the same dates everyone got. It's just not going to be live for you. So reach out to us. You'll be able to collect all of these wonderful dates that you'll be able to use throughout your life. It's not just 1 year. It continues on.
It really is explainable because you get these 66 dates, what the dates are, what the glyphs are, if you're wanting to learn a little astrology, we have all of the keys, like the key pages. Mm-hmm. We have all the descriptions of what will happen on these particular days. And then a little line which allows you to write in, on those dates. So you need to hold on to these worksheets the entire year and say, oh, this is what happened on this date. This is what happened on this date. And align it to the energy that was coming in for you on that day.
Yeah.
And then if you watch the recording, because it's been recorded, that you'll understand a little bit more on another level how to, follow, these detailed reports that are a lot of numbers and dates and glyphs, and to, transpose that onto the worksheet. So it really is a great way to learn astrology. That's how I like to teach it, is in the now. Live it.
And how it pertains to
Yeah.
you and your specific chart,
Yeah.
not that one person or that one famous person's chart where you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't really, care too much about that person. Of course we care about ourselves. That's
Right.
the coolest part. That's the coolest way to learn. So let's continue on and let's talk about the transits. Mercury square Jupiter.
Yeah, that happens Friday on February 22nd at 2:40 p.m. See the whole picture. Mercury is the details. And when it's a square to Jupiter, Jupiter's giving more of it. So it wants to see the big picture, right? Jupiter's about big picture. It's the long reaching, kind of optimistic view, right?
Okay, yeah.
Abundance. And so Mercury usually is in the opposition point of
Detail-oriented,
the small, being organized. But when they're in square to each other, they're 90 degrees. And so, it's about thinking in larger abstract ideas, in terms, to communicate that. So your thoughts, your mental activity has more of this bigger picture. It wants to expand. And so, it's good for business deals and negotiations because you can have get the details, and come up with the how, the how, the why, the when,
right.
all those equations get answered quickly, but always seeing the big end, of what it equals.
And I think that's
the
kind
big
of
number.
A good idea of how you and I work together. I feel like it's kind of like a Mercury square Jupiter, where you have all these like big, wonderful
I'm the
ideas.
Jupiter. Yeah.
You're the Jupiter.
Yeah.
And I come in and when you're talking, I'm already thinking of, well, how can I use all of my current resources to make this happen? And how could I have, the code work in a specific way or change those things and automate some things? So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, because it's organized. Now, here's what we don't want to happen because, whenever we have Jupiter in a configuration, that Jupiter tries to overgive. And so we don't want you to overlook the smaller details just trying to get to the big picture. Okay? So, yes, you have a good balance of both. So that overall reaching ability you have to get further when you're in the A and the B and the C and the D, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, don't move too fast on that. It does kind of slow you down a little bit so that you have to get all the pieces of the puzzle together first before you can put it together.
Right. Cool.
And then later that day, about 9:49 p.m., that's Central, the Venus conjunct Pluto. So, we know Venus is the planet of love and beauty and money and values and art and everything beautiful and pleasant and smell good, right? And it's conjunct, so it's moving with, at the same degree, Pluto. Mm-hmm. And Pluto is the planet of what?
Death and rebirth.
Yeah, regeneration, but also intensity, right? It's the most powerful planet in our solar system. And so it's that Venus conjunct Pluto, I wrote infatuation, versus manipulation. Because this could be that we're seeking new experiences, new love relationships that are intense and unusual. Because we want that kind of penetrating, that getting underneath and grabbing onto something. So, it's like looking for some sort of escape from your normal love routine, your beauty routine, your art routine, and really doing something with intensity.
Right.
Like eyes focused. You may be fascinated by meeting someone new. This is part of that infatuation, like just being completely like, oh my gosh, I'm completely in love, and I fell into it. I fell deep kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But, it can also create a possessiveness, right? Pluto also has where you can, talon in, get your fingernails into something that you don't want to let go. And, we don't want that if you're feeling insecure, that then moves into like a jealousness or manipulation where you're trying to get things completed in your way by manipulating, is that you're using stories or your feelings or in order to get the outcome to go your way. So, because it causes misunderstandings.
Right.
And then everybody's like, what? So, that's important. That's important. So, otherwise just, enjoy it, enjoy this time. If one is secure in their emotions and is secure in their relationship, go on into this at a deeper level.
Right.
And
I think that, in talking about this, it's reminding me too of the myth between Hades and Persephone.
Mm-hmm. Exact. Good point.
And where it was almost this like infatuation, manipulation type of energy where she then became the goddess of the underworld with Hades too. So that maybe that's a little piece of homework. Go and learn a little bit more about Hades and Persephone. That's a little bit of this Venus-Pluto dance.
Right. Yeah.
So,
well, Persephone got to come up to the upper world half of the year.
Right.
So that was the only deal that Hades would make, that she remains with him half of the year.
Right.
So, yeah, a little bit of manipulation there.
Right.
But he was so in love.
Yeah.
Right. All right. And then Saturday on the 23rd, we have Mercury in a sextile to Pluto, the same Pluto. This is at 11:15 p.m. Love of mystery. So now we're, Mercury is our thinking, our thoughts, our information gatherer. And it's a sextile, 60 degrees, says take the opportunity to do some investigation, to dive into the underworld, as you spoke, get beyond the surface, get beyond what it can be seen, what can be touched, what can be, visual. Go to the source of what's underneath and find the truth. Find out what really is going on down there. It's a good time to study any kind of deeper psychological subjects like astrology, to investigate, to ask clarifying questions, to discover what is really being said. So this is on Saturday. So this might be date night, right? Or, interesting. I don't know why I thought of...
Go to an escape room.
Right? When I said date night, I'm like, sometimes on Saturday nights I watch Dateline.
Yeah.
Which is what they do, is going into solving mysteries. But, the other thing you can do is as you're kind of searching and gathering this information for truths, you're learning things. And this is really an ability to teach something to someone because you're getting all the facts correct. So you have this internal knowledge, which we could call wisdom, on a particular subject that you've just, spent, hours, days, weeks, months, years doing a deep dive, but you have the jewels, you have the information. So you have something you can teach, right? Because you know your stuff, you can be the expert at something.
Yeah, you've kind of been there,
right?
You've done that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, cool. So tell me a little bit about Talisman Times. What were the ones that you finished up this past week? Well,
I sold a few of them that I did, so I won't talk about them because they're not available anymore. But I did finish the one on Sunday, on February 17th. We talked about the Sun sextile Uranus, which I have a funny story about that in our house. But to show the world my unique gifts. I am different, and I stand with and in my individual blessings. I use all of these skills and talents to better the world for me and for others. This is really about that Sun and Uranus.
It is fun. Yeah, I remember that was a good one.
And then the next day on Monday, February 18th, I used the Mercury in a sextile to Saturn to be practical and responsible with creative purpose. That sounds like an oxymoron, but it is. I know what is required of me to perform my duties in a disciplined manner. Now I get to the fun part of my art. Now I brought in the art and creative purpose because we've got, Neptune right there in this position. So, with Mercury. So Mercury was applying to Neptune in Pisces, so there had to be some sort of reason why it was about the creative imaginative, right? And art and thinking up things, but doing it in a responsible way, in a due diligent way.
Right, because both Mercury and Saturn love being resourceful and, kind of having these limitations, and then Neptune coming in saying, hey, let's get a little creative here, because you're still staying within those boundaries that Mercury and Saturn would like to keep, and just saying, well, this is good enough, let's use this and get creative with it.
Right. It's Neptune can blend in the kind of the healing attitude of let's make something up and put it into real form, right? So creative purpose. There's a reason we're doing this, right? Yeah. Here's what's coming up on the horizon. Actually, I'm going to Naples, Florida to visit. I'm going with my mom. Your Mimi, to visit Andrew, your brother.
Yeah.
And so I'll have Saturday, February 23rd. I'll be in Naples, Florida, and I'll be collecting that Mercury sextile Pluto. I'll be doing this at 11:51 a.m., right before noon, to understand all things under the surface. I ask questions and investigate what I do not know in order to know these things in their true nature. So this would be a good talisman for someone that doesn't ask enough questions.
Right.
Or is, shy or feeling inadequate, that they maybe should already know that information so that they don't ask a clarifying question to oh, yeah, now I understand. Yeah.
To reignite the curiosity.
Yeah. And the knowledge of it and
the desire to dig.
Desire to dig.
It can be tiring sometimes, but it's, when you need to get somewhere.
Right. And then a little bit later on that day, I'm using that same energy. This was on, again, Saturday, February 23rd at 5:58 to be clear on a message to my partner. We have Mercury in this position in the 7th house of intimate relationships. I have studied the situation. I now know what I am talking about, and my delivery is clear. Ooh, I just got chills. So this is really about something that you need to have a conversation with your either business partner or your intimate partner that, for good or for ill, you have something important to say. The sun,
and a powerful message I'm getting.
And the moon is really, really supported here because the moon is in Scorpio, which, does the deep dive, which, what rules Scorpio? Pluto. And the moon is sextiling the ascendant, so it's bringing energy to the message bringer, and the moon is trying the sun. So this is a really nice time on Saturday around dinner time if you need to have a conversation that has been either bothering you, or you're shedding new light on something that you're bringing to the table. Right. So it could be for, yummy, delicious things that you're bringing something new, or maybe you have questions. Right. So,
well, it's kind of like a prepared plan that you're bringing now to the table where it's kind of like, all right, here it is. What do you think?
Right. I've done my due diligence.
Right.
Should we do this? Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. I've got everything. I've got all my notes, my papers, and I know how we can figure this out. Right.
Right.
Or if it's for something like a questioning, like, there's been some, research and that needs to be brought to the table. So, we're not keeping this all surface. We need to have it's that proverbial, I need to talk to you. Kind of like, what do you mean? You're going to talk to me. Did I do something wrong? Sometimes that's like that little girl or little boy.
Uh-oh.
Like mommy wants to talk to you.
Right. Oh, okay. So that's pretty much done.
So
with
those
the
are the
talismans,
talismans,
right?
yeah.
So on the horizon, you did say that you were heading to Florida, which will be so much fun for a personal trip, which you don't get often.
Not much.
But however, coming up March 2nd and 3rd, there is actually going to be the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo here locally in North Lake, Illinois. They call it the Body, Mind, Spirit Chicago. However, it's just a little bit outside, it's
by the airport.
It's by the airport. It's down. It's not necessarily downtown, but it is a wonderful expo for people who are looking to explore different modalities within the spiritual world, metaphysical world.
There's
herbal,
readers, there's
right?
lectures, there's probably 200 plus vendors.
You can get everything from
will
crystals
be there,
to shamanic rattles to very cool clothing, what I consider cool clothing.
Our flowy clothing.
Right.
Yes, meditation CDs. You can pick up your intention beads there.
Yeah, hint, hint. Come and see us. So we wanted to do a free ticket giveaway. So we will be, if you're not on our email list, make sure to get on there because we are going to be sending out an email as a drawing for the free ticket giveaway. So the first few people that are going to be responding are going to be getting their tickets.
And it can be used either day or both days. How about that?
Right.
Yeah.
So we would love to have you. We would love, and I mean, really, the tickets are like $14 to get in the door, which it's not, an extravagant ticket price, but we want to, see who's interested and if you want to come along with us. Maybe you can, stop by our booth and say hi.
Yeah, of course. Introduce yourself.
So then we have March 6th is the beginning of the Constellation Bracelet Workshop. This is going to be the spring equinox, and this is going to be very specific and focused on the Mercury retrograde.
Yeah, it's a big thing. Rarely, most people don't know about Mercury. Well, they know about Mercury retrograde being like, oh, beware, not a good time for doing anything. That when we use Mercury retrograde properly, we are able to use it in its true function. And
that's precisely what we're going to be doing during the Constellation Bracelet workshop.
The Constellation Bracelet is not like last time we did it for over a 2-month period. This is a 3-week period that we're getting together 12 Zoom calls in a 3-week period.
Right. So it's still the same amount of time as all of our other constellation bracelets. This one's just a little bit more condensed.
It's compacted.
Right.
And, I mean, there's
Mercury likes
one
that.
day that we have two Zoom calls, one in the morning and one in the evening, because there's 2 things going on that day that we need to, set an intention and be aware of.
And be held accountable by the end of the day. That'll be good. And so what else I wanted to talk about is the new webinar that you're having, the Uranus and Taurus, that the options are March 6th. So that's the same day that the Constellation Bracelet Workshop starts, but also March 20th. And so these are going to be online as well, similar to the Constellation Bracelet Workshop, but this is a 1-bead talisman, and you're going to be focusing on just Uranus transits, correct?
That's it. So we don't know how many transits one will have. I know when we did the solar-powered webinar, there were 66 dates I gave to everyone. As people have been signing up, I have been collecting and preparing their detailed reports and their Uranus going through what house or 2 houses that you'll have Uranus go through 1 house for sure, sometimes 2 houses. And I give you, about a dozen bullet points on what that stage is, how that stage is set for you, and what Uranus is doing and shaking it up, right? It's going to stir some things up. It's a shakedown. And I'm able to give some people 36 dates, and then some other people I give 12 dates. And this is over a span of 7 years.
And so tell me a little bit about what people should know about Uranus and Taurus.
Well, we just finished the slides today, and it's beautiful. The slide presentation is gorgeous. And we're talking about what Uranus, what the planet Uranus does. And, it's an 84-year cycle. Anybody that's younger than 84 years old, which is probably most of us on this listening to this call, has not experienced Uranus going through the fixed Earth sign of Taurus.
Right.
And so, Uranus is the game changer. Wants to change. It's the rebel. It's like, let's do new, spontaneous, unexpected, fun, exciting things.
And then the bull doesn't really like doing those things.
No, I like things just the way it is. And you put those two together and you get,
a rodeo show.
It's a lot of bucking. It's a lot of bucking on and flailing around. So to be prepared so you can hold on properly onto the pieces that are important, because Uranus will shake things up, drive things down, break things up. It's the lightning bolt. It will come into some places in your world and go, and you will have debris. And when the dust settles, things have changed.
Right.
Now,
and so you're going to be helping people set their intentions of how they want to be focused and driven through these types of changes, right?
To see the beauty of the change. When things get old and stale and we get into such a routine that, we tend to lose interest, right? We do things by rote. And I believe, and as an astrologer, we're not here to do things by rote in our entire life. And so when we get stuck in a rut, we need something like Uranus to shake us up, to create that, whether it's chaos or an exciting roller coaster ride, right? When you get off, you're like, that was fun, let's do it again. However, but you didn't want to get on, 15 minutes earlier, right? And you're shoved on. And so that brings that energy, and it's here. It's here. I mean, it just spent 7 years in the sign of Aries. Uranus, likes being in a fire sign, so it just fired things up more.
It was fast-paced.
But now it's all more about agriculture, about our money, things that we possess, our material, possessions and property, earth. Yeah. So let's see where that's coming in for you and how you can, manage and ignite the change. Be excited.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So also March 7th to the 9th, we will be in Phoenix, Arizona. So any of our Phoenix listeners, we would love for you to join us at the International Women's Summit. And actually, we already have some people not even from Phoenix, Arizona that are flying to this event because it is wonderful.
I think last 2 years ago they held this and they had, I think Liz said, 64 countries represented. And I mean, there's a wonderful speaker list that will be up on stage and really driving in the fact that, and it actually is on International Women's Day.
Oh, perfect. I didn't even know that.
Which is on that Friday. And it's just bringing women together to help other women, and particularly the younger women, right? So there's like mentorships can form, right? And seeing where other women need support from our womanhood. So really cool thing that Liz does. I love it.
And I'm also so happy to announce that is currently on our website.
Yay, it's Alex, you were busy today.
It's on our calendar. It's on our calendar. So definitely head over to intentionbeads.com/events and you'll be able to see our upcoming March time frame. A little bit of April because we are going to be going to Bali. And that's the other thing I want to talk about. The Bali episode. So we had a little Bali Babes episode that we recorded last week and it was just released, I think today or just yesterday. And listen to it. We have some amazing stories, some tidbits of what you should know about Bali.
We had two of our Bali babes on air with us.
Right.
And here in the studio.
Just talking about what was the experience like and what were the fun things that they would have, what were their favorite parts of it?
Or what were their fears?
Right. What were their fears going out there?
It's a long journey and that's part of the journey is to get on a plane and go on to the other side of the world. Mm-hmm. And, and you can do it.
And it is.
can do it.
It's kind of like the other side of the world and another dimension of a world that we don't really know here. So
No. Yeah.
I like that part. So listen to that episode. There are some really amazing stories that you should all hear about. Also, again, the dates for the Bali retreat are April 15th to the 26th. And there is a chance and an opportunity for you to get a free reading with Sandy to discuss what would be going on in your chart during those times. See if it's a good fit for you. It's a very affordable retreat going halfway around the world and spending, a week and a half.
Yeah, it's 12 days, 11 nights.
12 days in Bali. We submerge. We dive straight in. So join us. We would love to have you.
Right. We had 2 more signups today.
Yeah. So excited. Then finalizing our episode today, we want to discuss our house. So welcome in.
Come in. Welcome. So, I'm going to Naples, Florida, where Andrew, my son, who's an assistant golf pro at one of the country clubs down there. And, I might have mentioned that, when my dad passed, how long? I don't know, 6 weeks ago, that it kind of freed my mom up. And she said, I'll go to Naples, Florida and look at Andrew's golf club that he's, assisting pro on. And so we leave on Thursday. And so that's really exciting for me. I'm as a daddy's girl, I'm really exploring a new relationship with my mother, who I've always adored and loved and respected immensely. But I don't sit with my dad now, right? So I'm now becoming
not the tricycle anymore. It's the bicycle.
It's the bicycle, and so it'll be really cool and fun, and just me and mom. So. We got an 87-year-old and a 62-year-old, getting on a plane and she left me
having
in charge.
Having a girls' weekend, basically.
Yeah, and we'll get to be spending time with Andrew, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be great. And so you had a little story of your transits.
Well, the transit of that, actually it was 2 combination. So last week on Sunday, we had the Venus sextile Neptune. And I wrote arouses romance. Well, I had a ticket for a concert that was right up the street. It's a friend of mine, Chris Green. I'll give him a little shout out. He's a saxophonist that lives in Evanston. And I bought this ticket months ago. Didn't know if I could really attend because it was so far in advance. But earlier that day, I said, I'm going to go and I'm going to surround myself with a very pleasant, dreamy moment. I'm actually really reading the notes that I read last week. A desire to surround yourself with pleasant and dreamy moment, to be around beauty, music, people, right? You'll want to put those others' needs before you, receive gratification. And earlier, and a little bit later that night, which actually was more like 1 o'clock the next morning, we had that Sun sextile Uranus. So it's about, acting freely to be yourself, to be an individual, show up. A surprise may come in. It might be pleasant because it's a sextile, so that your anything that you need to change in your life, we can identify it and move toward it and just say, oh, I like that over there. So I go to the concert by myself. I take the action to act freely, to be my own damn self, right?
Perfect.
Go
Amen
by myself for the desire to be around music and, have a cocktail and see my friend up on stage. And I'll only say this. I walked in, and as soon as I did, the concert was already in play, immediately a vibration occurred, and this arouses romance and stimulates the imagination, totally downloaded for me. And I am still in this feeling of, holy crap, what was that? And what is this still happening right now? So, I took that. I knew, of course, I write all this stuff and then, live it. I follow it. Mm-hmm. That I did exactly what I was to do that night and go into this beautiful dark space of very calm, because it's a sit down kind of thing, but I never sat down once. There's only a handful of us that stood. And it was that in that handful that made all the difference. And to be continued.
Fun.
To be continued.
So much fun.
Yeah. Yeah. You have no idea.
So I also wanted to discuss a little bit about our upcoming birthdays, because
we're March
the
birthdays.
sun is in Pisces. So happy birthday, Pisces. I feel like things are going by so quickly. Yes. So I wanted quick just to talk about, what it means, a solar return, and just get an idea of you as an astrologer, how do you help people with their birthdays?
So there's a thing called solar return chart. And solar, sun, returns back to the same exact degree and minute that you breathed in.
So for instance, me, March 1st.
Right. That you were born at what time? 9:31 a.m. So when I put that, when I know your degree and minute of your sun, I just match that for this year. So I've done your chart, but I'll keep that till next week when we get a little closer to your birthday.
Fun.
Because you have a time, there's an exact date, and it's March 1st, your birthday, but there's a time, and it's in the morning that the sun comes back to and regenerates your sun. It gives you new solar power energy for the year. We call it a birthday. Hello.
So it's not
celebration.
It's not necessarily just for all Pisces. So my degree of Pisces sun is, help me out here. Is it 11?
You're 11 degrees.
11 degree Pisces. So it's when the sun is at 11 degrees Pisces.
Plus the minutes.
The minute.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Okay.
So there's a time stamp. And so that's the time when you will go into a 15-minute ceremony. You'll go in and, you do literally, your body has memory. Your muscle can remember when you came out of that dark tunnel, all squished up, and now you get to see the light, and it might be a little chilly, and you're naked, you've been nice and warm, and now you're out into the real world, and it's glaring and it's chilly. And so you could stretch because you've been, pinned up for a little bit. And you're really reacting, you're sneezing, getting things clearing your nose, you're yawning because you're taking in some oxygen from the air. And so you're doing, your body is remembering this, and you do this in celebration for a renewed sense of self, right? So then there's a chart that goes with that. So I do a solar return chart. There's an offer of that, which I give you the time and give you some key points of the year, what this year looks like for you. Is it an action-packed year? Are you continuing projects and actions that you had already started, or are you finishing up? That's really one of the big kind of look-ats that I make when I write. And then what house is the sun is? What is this year about? What stage will you be on? You know?
That's fun. And then you get to kind of do this visioning process of, how do I want to work with this energy? How do I want to help direct it in the way that, I feel like I want to go? And with solar returns too, to all of our listeners, if you sign up for our mailing list, we send you a reminder. First off, little side note, you have to put in your birthday for us to know, when to be sending you these things. But we'll send you a reminder a couple weeks before your birthday saying, hey, your solar return is coming up. Do you want to know a little bit more? And there's a special offer there for you. So and really you could probably do a solar return chart anytime, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's best to have it, 2 weeks.
Somewhere around.
2 weeks before your birthday so that you can set this time, where you're going to be. I remember last year for your birthday, you didn't know that Andrew, your brother, was making plans to come up for your 30th birthday party, or not that we were having a party, but for your 30th birthday.
Now everyone knows how old I am.
That was last year.
Gonna be 31. It's going by real fast.
And that fact that he was flying up from Florida, you didn't know about it. I did your solar return chart. It was at like 4:23 p.m. in the afternoon, and I said, "Okay, Andrew, this is going to work. We're going to go over to the Baha'i temple, and Alex will do a little ceremony in the Baha'i, and you'll be waiting down the stairs when we come out."
It was so perfect.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I was shocked. I heard a voice before I saw him. I heard a voice saying, "Hey, wait for me." And I knew exactly who it was. It was almost just, ingrained. I of course know my brother's voice. And so, yeah,
and it was funny because
so wonderful.
He was standing there in his Florida clothes. He had just come.
And it's freezing out all the time. Every single one of my birthdays is freezing.
Well, it's March 1st, girl. It's it would be February 29th. You were almost born on
a leap year.
It was leap year day, of a leap year that we get every 4 years. And it was please don't come out of my body.
I was 9 hours and 31 minutes late for the leap year. I would have been young forever.
Well, you are. You have that energy.
Oh, thanks.
Which you used to be offended when people would say,
I have a baby
my
face.
Gosh, no,
you look so young.
Yeah. Oh, you're graduated high school already?
Yeah, they thought I was in grade school.
I mean, and you used to be offended. Well, I think that tide has turned now. That is
Of course.
oh yeah, I'm still in my 20s.
Yeah, I like that.
I'll take it.
Keep IDing me, bartenders.
So, the solar return, I remember that I haven't done mine for this year yet. My birthday's March 19th, so that's coming up in a little bit. But we'll tell some stories around that. But, happy birthday, Pisces. We're the last sign of the zodiac. So we know things are wrapping up. We're the mutable fish. We are a water sign. We're very sensitive. We're very intuitive. Use these skills that you were born with. Use your creative, imaginative power. We want to help others, So, happy birthday. And, get your solar return time.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's very affordable.
Yeah. So I think that's the wrap for our episode number 30.
Well, that went fast.
My episode 30 on the week left that I have to be 30.
I'll be coming back from Florida and arriving in town a half hour before we record our next. So I'll be huffing and puffing, but I'll probably look tan.
Yeah, you will.
Next week when you see me.
You're in the sun for 5 minutes and you look like you've been
I have that blood.
in Bali for 2 weeks. Not fair.
Come with us to Bali. We have a few more spaces left open. This is that April 15th through April 26th. Things are shaping up. We know what we're doing.
Oh yeah, come on. So I want to just leave you all with a big thank you for listening to the podcast. I mean, I guess maybe I overstated, but really this is so meaningful for us. This is a huge opportunity for my mom and I to actually talk about some personal things too, and share it with everyone because we love you all. So please write us a review.
Well, just like Nicole is using this in her day-to-day life, inspire other people with your inspiring stories. How are you using any of this advice?
Right. And so, of course, tell a friend. We would love to hear more and reach more people. So tell your friends. I mean, if they're curious about astrology a little bit, this is a great podcast. We don't overwhelm you with astrological lingo. We try to keep this as understandable as possible for you. And also, if you have questions about astrology, this is a wonderful platform for us to explain it to you. So
ask a question. We would do that in Going Direct. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, we love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And this is the end of episode 30. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.